Welcome to Interview Talks.
Hi all, I'm Vamsi Krishna from GVP College Komadi. I'm 2021 pass out. Recently I got selected in Cognizant Genc next role in my campus placements. I'm here with you to share my interview experience. First of all, they introduced themselves and asked about myself. It's general question. It's a friendly talk for 5 minutes and then they looked at my resume. Most of the interviewers are asking questions purely based on our resume. So try to prepare the resume very well. Okay, let's talk about the questions they asked me. They started with a program which is reversing a given number. I solved it and then they asked me about pointers in C language. I answered it, its definition and functionality. And then they asked me what will happen if pointers concept is not present in C language. I took 10 to 15 seconds of time and I answered like we can't implement most of the data structures like trees, graphs, linked list, etc., which are major part in long programming. And if you observe in C language, arrays and pointers are very closely connected. So without pointers, we can't implement arrays also. Okay, after listening all this, he satisfied and moved on to the next question. Generally, we don't prepare these kind of questions, right? At this point, I felt like, okay, they are more interested in our intuitiveness and applicability of concepts rather than exact definitions and concepts. So I has to be more attentive. And then they moved to Java. They asked a lot of questions on Java, which are standard and very well known to everyone. No need to worry about them. The questions in Java are OOPS concepts and examples for each concept like polymorphism and encapsulation, etc. And then they asked me about exception handling, try, catch, finally, all this. Next question is difference between object oriented and procedural language, and then method overriding and method overloading, and then asked about constructor. These are general questions, and everybody knows these questions. At last, he asked me one new question in Java, that is, in exception handling, we use the keyword finally, right? What is its need? And then I told the functionality of finally, which is the control will directly move to finally block after executing the catch block. After listening to this, he said, that's okay, but do we really need it in Java? Why can't we just place all the statements which are in finally blocks in catch block so that we can avoid finally block completely? After hearing this, I got stuck and asked him to give some time. I took around 40 to 50 seconds of time and answered like in try block, if we are not sure which kind of exception it will raise, we will use multiple catch blocks. So if we avoid finally block, we must place its code in all catch blocks, which is an overhead. I don't know it is the exact answer or not, but he felt happy with this answer and I too felt happy. And then he moved to DBMS. He asked about normalization. I have explained all the four normalizations: 1NF, 2NF, 3NF, and BCNF definitions and examples. That's over. And he asked the difference between RDBMS and DBMS and cloud concept and real world examples. And next question is most general one. He asked about project but didn't ask about it properly. I just told him what we are using in the project, what is its outcome, and how it works, and that's it. He didn't dig deep. Finally, he asked me, "Do you have any questions?" I just laughed and said, "No, sir." And then he said, Come on, man, think again and ask something. I said, okay, sir, tell me about Fresh's experience at Cognizant. He talked about it for 15 minutes. If you face this question, don't ask about salary details. That's not the proper thing to ask. And one more thing is, don't study just before the interview. Try not to talk to anyone. Just keep yourself cool and calm. If you are in hurry, you can't express yourself in a proper way. Okay, this is all about my interview. Hope I gave you some idea about the interview process. Thanks everyone.